Nibbles, a series of webinars. As you all know, we have done it last week, week before, with astrophotography as our first webinar. It had a very good audience and it was a huge success. So with great demand, we have come up with the wedding photography. So as you all know, Photowalk Bengaluru, I don't think I have to repeat what is it exactly. So now most of them are regular for us. So I won't be introducing Photowalk Bengaluru. I have few announcements to make. We have come up with a WhatsApp number, our official WhatsApp number for Photowalk Bengaluru. I have sent message. Most of them must have got it. Okay, just save those messages, just save the number. Here on, we will be sending all the information related to Photowalk Bengaluru. We'll be sending it over the WhatsApp number. No other numbers will be active. Okay, so whatever inquiries you have, you can just ask us directly on that number. And as always, if you want to say anything about our Facebook is always active, so you can post over there also. Okay. So the second thing I want to tell you is that we have come up with a YouTube channel. So it's YouTube_/Photowalk Bengaluru. Please subscribe and like, and all these videos that we are doing, the webinars videos will be posted over there. So you can have and you can share it. Okay, the other thing is that we are doing our theme contest. We'll be doing it every week, but the week we are doing webinars, we won't be having theme contests. Okay, so when the week of webinar, there will be no theme contest. The rest of the weeks there will be webinars. Theme contest. Okay, the second thing, I don't think anything else has to be said. I don't want to waste time talking much. And okay, I would like to introduce our today's speaker. That is Claude Loren. He's a good friend of mine. And when I asked him about this, when we were planning wedding photography, the first thing came into my mind was Claude. There was no one else who I can think of. So I just straight away asked Claude whether he can do a session for us, for our members. And he happily agreed. And I'm really I don't have words to explain. Okay. To talk about Claude, he is a principal photographer at Claude Loren Wedding Photography. He is a biotechnologist turned photographer. He is an international acclaimed wedding photographer, as you all know. Claude is based in Bangalore and has credit of shooting some high-profile weddings. All must be knowing Deepika Padukone's wedding that was covered by Claude's team. And we are lucky to have Claude here to talk about all those things, his experience with the high-profile weddings. Welcome, Claude. And yeah, the other thing is that we have some rules to follow during this session. So I think I will just explain you all. Ajay, can you just share the screen? Yeah. First of all, I want during the session, all the attendees will be muting their mic. No one should talk in between. Okay. The second is that if you want to ask any questions, if you're related, just take a note. At the end, we will be having a question and answer session where you can ask questions directly to Claude. He will be answering all your questions. Okay. And the second thing is that disable your video once the online session starts, when the presentation starts. Okay, that's it. That's the main three things you have to take care. The rest is all everybody knows. Okay, so now shall we take a, Ajay, can we take a group picture? I think Ajay, you are on mute.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, for that, I need everybody to put on their video.
Okay, just once.
Yeah. Ajay, all are there?
Yeah,
All the
yeah, I'm
videos are on?
doing it. One second.
Yeah, no, just check if all the videos,
No,
anyone.
not all the videos are on. Few of them.
Yeah, those who have,
The first screen were on. The second screen, most of them are turned off. Rohan, Kunal,
request all
Santosh.
attendees just for maybe a minute or so, just to take a group picture. Can you please put on the videos? Prakriti, Vijay Gowda, Vinit, Tej, Bhagya, Diya, okay.
Lal Krishna, Vinith, Nagbhushan, Prakriti.
Prakriti is put off, Bhagya is there, Nagabhushan is put off, Kartik Ravan is okay. Santosh here, I think your video is off. Lal Krishna ji, it's okay. I think go ahead.
Yeah,
Don't
I
waste
think
time
I'll
on
just
this.
take the screenshot. We'll
Yeah.
move.
Any action, Pradeep?
No,
You're on
I
mute,
have taken
Pradeep.
the screenshot as is. So yeah.
Okay.
I am done. You guys can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
Claude,
please.
you can take over and.
Yeah,
So,
Claude, take over this.
perfect.
Ajay,
So,
can you start the recording?
Yeah, recording is happening. It's also live on FB.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah.
okay. So what I'm going to do is I will activate my share screen. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Can people see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So perfect. So let me start off. Yes. So hi guys. I don't really want to give too much of an introduction because Russell has done his job. And honestly speaking, I can't really talk much about myself. But yes, I'll definitely share my experience throughout this whole journey and how it has taken me from where I was or where I started to where I am today. Success is basically, I don't think anyone is successful till they are successful in their own eyes. So for me, I really want to reach great heights. So I'm still looking out for it. Now, talking about myself, yes, I'm a wedding photographer. I started wedding photography about like say 10 years back. So let me just start about the whole thing. Firstly, thank you so much, Russell and the whole gang to Photowalk Bangalore to introduce me into this webinar and give my little story and feedback regarding wedding photography and how someone can pursue it or one can get better at it or one who's already doing it professionally probably if he has something to be concerned about to
ಹೌದಾ ಹಾ ಹಾ
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Claude, you can go ahead. You're mute. Claude is mute. Claude, you're on mute.
Can everyone hear me now?
Yeah. Now you're audible.
Perfect. So yeah, like I was saying, like to target this for this webinar, I want to target people who want to pursue it, who are already into it, and probably who are absolutely doing professionally, probably more than the number of years I'm doing. In case there's any kind of relevance in the talk that I'm going to do, just to help them out in any ways, because Russell thinks I've done it right. So anyway, just going forward, okay, now first I want to talk about photography. It is basically an art. So an art is to be sold completely based on how you look at it, how you pursue it. Now, if you look at it from an angle of business, then I feel that you lose the essence of art. So that's my whole point about photography. Like any artist, he does everything as an artist. You cannot commercialize his work, and that is that. By the end of it, it becomes business. So that is something I would say. Firstly, anyone who's starting photography has to first think about is art, that you're going to be an artist, and you need to pursue it as an artist, not as a businessman. Now coming to wedding photography, under photography. Now, a lot of people have been doing various kinds of photographies, and then like they realize, okay, now it's time to make some money out of it. Fair enough, that is fine. That is not business. Business, I'll get back to it a little later. Of course, everyone needs a sustainable amount to come in every month, every year to live. So wedding photography is a way that you can do it, but if you do it right, like I said, in the form of art. So now wedding is a very important field in terms of photography. It's not because it has to do anything with photography. It is because you're going to get involved in something uh, of someone else, and which is absolutely important to that individual or the couple who are getting married. It's someone else's wedding. So we always have to keep that first in our mind as the first priority, and then do everything else that we can to provide the best we can. So quickly, regarding my experience, I've been doing this for say 10 plus years. I started in 2009. November is going to be 11 years, but yeah, it was a funny story. I was doing my biotechnology, as Russell mentioned. I was doing my master's in biotechnology. That's why I moved to Bangalore, and I had no clue about photography, like zero photography. I never even had a point and shoot. It was just an unfortunate event for my brother-in-law, who was a wedding photographer. Most of you might know of him. His name is Anup Cat. He was a wedding photographer. He is a wedding photographer, and his second shooter backed out last minute. And fortunately, he said, "You know what, Claude, just come and be there. Just give me support." So that's when I picked. He taught me overnight as to what the dials do, what aperture is, what ISO is, and he said, "Do whatever you can. I'll handle the shoot." So me as I am, I can't just stand in one corner and like pretend to not do anything. So I did take a little bit of interest that night when he taught me. Once he was done teaching, I sat with the camera by myself and thought myself, did a little bit of research, and next day I was ready to go in for a shoot. That was my first shoot with Anup. It came out of nowhere. Now, the funny thing is, people talk about equipments. I was given a 30D. I mean, it was fortunate for me that Anup even gave me a camera to even shoot without photography. But he gave me a 30D Canon, 30D Canon, which had no modes working, only manual mode was working. He gave me a 50 lens, and which probably had an issue with focusing. But any which ways, I was given something to do something at least. So anyways, that didn't stop me there. I kind of like took it as a challenge. I thought, okay, this is interesting. After the first shoot, second shoot, I requested him, can I come again? He took me again, and it did happen for a couple of months. I really liked the field. It was a weekend affair because, of course, I was doing a master's, and biotech is not an easy field to just skip things. So anyways, it kind of worked for me over the weekend, and finally. I thought, okay, this looks like a very interesting piece of career, not my entire career, but piece of career. And what I did first thing was I tried to impress Anu. So the camera that he gave me, I fixed it. I fixed the dials that were broken, the things that were not working. Got a new 50 lens, and I told Anu, this is for you from the amount that he should give me. And that's something I think so. I don't know. I've never asked him this, but I feel, at least for myself, that that is something that he thought I was doing right. And he took me for more shoots, and he gave me the vast knowledge that he had. Anup is one more person who never hides from teaching. He teaches everyone everything. So I was a first-hand experience to it. And like I said, I don't need to explain much about him. Fortunately, it went out to his best friend, Mark Swarup, who was also a wedding photographer, who's not true to his second shooters, but because Anup convinced him, I started going with Mark, and of course, then I started getting Mark's side of knowledge, which was again very, very vast, which was superb. So I've got the best two mentors, and they're the best two inspirations that I will ever have in photography. Slowly, the client started building up because I think so, if I remember correctly, Anup couldn't shoot one of his friends' weddings, or whom he kind of vaguely knew because he was already booked. He asked me to go and shoot. Fortunately, I could manage to do the shoot really well. I shot alone. I did manage to shoot wedding really well, and fortunately, just kind of ended up building up doing the work right, and I think so something I must have done right, that people kept referring me. And honestly speaking, I survived the year with weddings only through referrals. Nothing. If you really notice my webpage, anything, there's nothing there. Like I've just 4,000 followers. There's basically zero social media marketing. It's just word of mouth that gets me wherever I have to go. So yeah, for keeping myself aside, I just want to talk about my like a little bit of a wedding experience now. And now I want to talk about the main aspect. This is what I consider to be the most important aspect, at least for me, growing up as a wedding photographer. That is the wedding and its importance to a couple. First of all, we all need to realize it's their important day. Months, years, sometimes it's basically their life's milestone that they're going to achieve. So it's their very, very important day. People sometimes, of course, they do have a short-term weddings, but everyone puts in an effort to get married. So someone interesting you to shoot their wedding, to give them memories, is something that you need to be really privileged or proud about, because they trust you to do it. So I believe that you should always keep that in mind when you're entering a wedding to shoot someone's important day. Second thing is, it's a story of the day. You don't show up and say, you know what, okay, I'm going to take pictures, I'm going to get the money, and I'm going to go back. No, it's a story of the day that you need to show it through your photographs, because it's not about that day. It's about the rest of the years that you're going to look at them, rest of the people who couldn't attend the wedding, rest of the people who want to sit back and enjoy whatever they've missed from the wedding because they were probably being hosts, especially the parents. So whoever has missed out on the thing, like, you are the eyes after the wedding is done. One more thing I want to tell you guys, that we are the only people who take work back as wedding photographers. You look at any other clients, or sorry, any other vendors from a wedding industry, they're the only people. Everyone, DJ ends the night there, wedding makeup artist, before the wedding is done, she's done, food is done, venue is done. We are the only guys who take actually our work back, because we go back, edit, and we have to give the photograph. So we do a very important job, because after the wedding is done, we are the ones who take the memories forward ahead. So we have to craft the memories. We have to give them a sense that they have interested their important date to a right person. So make sure to make them comfortable. Get this feeling in them, saying that, you know what, thank you for firstly, yes, thank them for having them choose you as their photographer. And yeah, just do your job right. It is, like I said, it's a very, very, very important day to anyone. I tell this, like, lot of people say, oh, you have shot high profile weddings, you have shot such big weddings, it is great. I said, no, for me, every wedding is important. It's just because maybe Deepika and Ranveer, I've shot, of course, Narayan Murthy's son's wedding. I shot way too many high profile weddings, yes, but for me, for every couple, their day is the most important day. Be it the celebrities, be it the high profile, be it a person who's just getting married, whom none of us know of. For each person, their wedding day is the most important day. So that is what we need to think about, not who the couple is, or yes, it's a sense of achievement shooting high profile weddings, but that is where you have to leave it. You have to do your job right for every single couple. Doesn't matter who it is. Now, coming to people who want to get started with wedding photography, I just wanted to list a couple of things so that you guys kind of, at least if you consider anything from this works for your benefit, like this might just help you go ahead in terms of how to achieve it. Of course, not for people who have already started or people who are already professionals. It's just for people for whom it makes sense to start right now. Firstly, I want to say, approach other photographers. It is not simply to see, wedding photography is a field in photography which you can make good money, but the good money has to come in a very honest way. You cannot just do it for the sake of making money. Like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years. If I was to make money, quick money, I would have finished it and I would have done the job wrong, and I wouldn't have lasted for so long. So my point being, approach other photographers, especially the ones who are already established in the field. Understand from them. Every photographer in this webinar will know that carrying a camera with the heavy lenses, the flash attached, is not a joke for like 3-4 hours, 5-6 hours, or whatever it is. Like sometimes it goes beyond that. It's not a joke. Keeping constant mindset of the batteries, your team, is not a joke. So don't do it for the sake of making money. If you're thinking about that, stop that first. First you think about it. Couple, like I said, first point is approach other photographers. Understand from them why they are doing this, for what are they doing it, and what are the things that come along with it. It is a fantastic field. It is super fun. You're meeting a whole bunch of people, uh, like I said, who respect you because they're already entrusting you with the biggest day in their life. So they will have fun with you. It's a phenomenal field to build it as a career. So yeah, like I said, approach photographers, understand from them, and then if you're capable of doing whatever they are doing, then it's fine. Or probably if you can do what they're doing, is fine. Now, get your goals clear. When I say get your goals clear, is because sometimes people do have two jobs. Probably they might be planning to switch. One of my second shooter did switch recently. He was working for Tech Mahindra. His name is Sheldon. He used to work in Tech Mahindra. He was with this job and he was doing this, like, but he planned it out well, how to do it. He wanted to test it out. If it worked, did not work. It worked for him. And finally he quit the other job and he said, this is better for me. That is what it is. I was doing biotechnology. I was doing this as a weekend affair. It worked out best for me. And of course, biotech didn't work for me. We weren't getting enough salaries. I was making more money by the end of it in a day than I would get through working a month through biotech. So this was a good switch for me. So always think about your goals. If you are in a well-established thing and you feel that that's going to give you a constant source of income by the end of the month, good for you. Stick to that. Don't think photography is it's going to be a monthly affair. It's not a monthly affair. Sometimes we do go dry, especially September is when there are no weddings, rains. A month of April and all, like when there's Lent, then there's some Raukals and stuff like that. The months do go dry. Sometimes, of course, there are no weddings. You can't help it. Like COVID time, there were no weddings. So if you want a sustainable source, you have to plan. You need to get your goals right. Second, if you're going to start, think about the future. You can't just do wedding photography for the 2 years and get done with it. Then what? Because you are going to start something by your own. You're not going to get a job experience from, I'm sorry, with all due respect, from an IT company which keeps a record of this. So you're going to go aloof for 2 years. So think about your future. Are you going to continue this for the 5-6 years, then build into another stream of photography? Yes, then it makes sense. If you're going to do for a couple of years and then I don't think it works. Then if you say, yes, okay, I'm ready to do this for long term, it's going to be feasible for me, start with a simple plan. Start with the portfolio. Portfolio is simple to present to your couples, males, what kind of equipment you want, probably what kind of reach you want. Basically, target audience, like, do you want only Indian weddings? Do you want, like, see, I shoot a lot of inter-religious weddings, a lot of inter-country weddings, I would say. But yeah, vast variety. It's just fortunate that my target audience went towards that because I started off that way. So see what your target audience is. Do you want to do only international weddings? So how do you get to that point? How do you target those kind of audience and all of it? Portfolio is one of the main things that attract people. So think about it. Then of course, once that is done, you have to think about the team. If you're the main person, you need to figure out how you're going to work with the team. If you're going to be just a photographer, yes, 1+1, that is you plus another shooter, is fine for a wedding of 300 people. If it is a bigger crowd, you need a third shooter. Get another person. So at least have a minimum of 3 people ready, because that is what is at least a minimum requirement for a wedding. If it is video, plus 3. If for cinematography, definitely you require another 3 people. So start building a team. Figure out what size is important depending upon your audience. I shoot a lot of weddings. 90% of my weddings are from 80 people to say 150, 200 people. Small weddings, high profile weddings maybe, but they're very small weddings. So I love that because everyone is important at that wedding. So that's how my audience, my kind of couple or my kind of clientele is. So according to that, I've kept a 3+3 team. two photographers plus one and three cinematographers. It is fine. So at a given time, 5 people are shooting. Plus one is either doing some drone shots or something, or probably not shooting. It is just to keep the team concise. Importance to build a team is you need to definitely make sure that the right people are shooting the thing with the same mindset. Your team is important because you'll be spending years, say at least every travel, every shoot, every season you're going to spend with them. Probably at least I spend more time with my team than my wife. Honestly speaking, I travel more with my team than my wife. So if you're going to have a team that is with different mindsets, is not going to work. There'll be a lot of fights, a lot of disagreements. So you need to figure out a team that is going to hold you all together. If you are sick, someone else is going to cope up for you. If I am sick, my entire team is going to back me up. So there are a lot of things, factors that work, not just sickness. There's mental conditions. Like, of course, some things don't go right in everyone's life sometimes. So you need this constant moral support. You need a good team, which kind of probably becomes a family. That is what I talk to my team about. It has to be a family more than a team of just people going and shooting there. Coming to the next point is deliverable and timeline. Sort out your deliverables and timelines after that. Once you got your team, you need to figure out what your team can achieve, what you can give, and in what time. Basically, as far as I'm concerned, like I give a 60-day period for photographs and 90-day period for my cinematography video. It was because I sat and discussed with my cinematography team. Photographs I edit by myself, and I know I am capable of delivering it even in a busy season within 60 days. Sometimes it does go plus or minus, but yeah, I do discuss it with my team. In terms of cinematography, I sit with my video editor and I talk to him. Tell me how much time do you? Initially, he said 60 days. It kind of didn't work. Of course, it's a trial and error, right? So then we pushed it to 90 days. 3 months is not a lot of time that, you give photographs within 60 days, they have something to sit with for the next 30 days. So I think so another 30 days for video is fine. I feel is absolutely fine. Always build your work ethics. Work ethics, when I say that, is a base where you can build your team as well. Be on time, be punctual, be honest. All these things are work ethics. Make sure whatever you have promised, you give them. Don't over promise. Don't estimate yourself, and don't make it seem like you cannot do it. So always understand yourself and do it right. Last but the most important thing is calendar. This is where a lot of professional photographers I've seen going wrong is they double book themselves, which is unbelievable because, okay, personally, I don't take any, if I'm booked for, say, December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, an example, I will not take any other wedding on those dates. It is impossible for me to say Claude Loren wedding photography and not be there at one wedding when my name is mentioned as Claude Loren wedding photography. I have to be there. So I don't take multiple weddings. I take one wedding and I'm happy with it. Taking multiple weddings, I don't know how you on what basis do you give importance to one wedding and not the other. So it does happen that I take a 3-day wedding, say 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and I'm already booked for November 27th, 28th, 29th, and the 1st, 2nd, 3rd December wedding, people say, you know what, there's a small ceremony at home. Can you come and do it? So I tell them straight up, I'm already booked. If you want, I can send one of my teammates. Is that okay? That is fine. But when you're booked for particular dates, don't double book yourself. That's something that I would always tell. So always keep your calendar updated. Always keep your calendar thorough and make sure you don't disappoint the couple. Now coming to style and angle. Once you have based all of this, I believe one of the most important thing is figuring out your own style. Why this is important is because I'm not asking you to be super unique. I'm not asking you to be super talented in terms of getting the most creative shots. But what I'm saying is a simple approach to your style will set a particular clientele towards you. So for that, I would say start with references. You have Instagram profiles now. There's enough of social media content that you can refer. You have your friends. For me, the best thing was Mark and Anup. I mixed their two styles and I came up with my own, like simple as this. Anup is of course super creative. Like him being my mentor, I just saw only ideas in that brain of his. Like I couldn't even cope up to it. At the same time, I saw Mark with another approach of about something like keep the camera straight, keep your ethics right, and all of it. So both of that I inculcated together, and I made it my own style. So what I do is I look at stuff in terms of how plain and simple they are and how I can show emotions at best. Like uh, everyone's style they can relate to. I relate to my own style, and I feel like I can work best at any wedding at any given scenario with that. So that's where I come in terms of second point called feasibility. Your style should be feasible at any given point. Be it rain, not rain, indoor, outdoor. When you moved from, I don't know, from a grand resort to a Kalyan Mandap, it shouldn't change. It should give you the same essence because the clients are hiring you for your style. And approach. You need to figure out how you would also approach that in different scenarios. Like I mentioned, it can also happen that or you might look at a reference which is always like most of the weddings abroad, or even the weddings that I have shot abroad is during daytime. So it's very easy to, I feel at least personally, it's very easy to shoot a daytime wedding. So referring someone's daytime pictures and saying, "Oh, that's the style I want," and you shooting only nighttime or indoor weddings is not going to work. So see how people approach or how you're going to approach with that style to shoot the weddings or that you are shooting. So always look at your approach. So fourth thing is consistency. Now people will always look at your portfolio and they will say, "Oh, this is the style I like, and I want to hire him for that." So you need to be consistent with your style. You can't tomorrow say, "Oh, I'm going to change my style, and I'm going to go to this," because tomorrow the client might have selected you for this style. You're shooting the wedding in your own new style right now. The client will be disappointed because I know for a fact people like clients are like a lot of couples are black and white fans. They like a lot of black and white pictures, but I'm not a black and white fan. If like 1% or 5% of my pictures are in black and white. There's a reason behind it. I can probably talk about that later, but it is my personal thing. Like so have a consistent thing. A lot of my clients say, "I'm glad you don't give me black and white." That is the clientele I have built up right now because of my consistency. Then, like I said, by the end of it, putting all of it together, if the reference is right, it is feasible at everything, you can approach it at any given situation and you can keep it consistent. That is your own style. By the end of it, if you look at this picture, this is of a couple simply standing in walk through bridge. What you can see is probably a simple picture. Yes, for me, it is a simple picture. For most people, it is simple. But technically, I have made sure there are enough and more of leading lines around here. Like if people know about what leading lines are, yeah, they're the lines that are there in a frame that kind of lead you to a subject. If you notice, there are more than 5, 6 leading lines. I made sure everything is pointed to a particular subject. And my second style is using shadows as much as possible. This was actually it might look simple, but it was not as simple because there's shadows every step. So I had to place them right, get the leading lines right, and get my frame right. So center frame, simple stuff, done. Like also I like to show you a couple of my other work where I kind of simply show a little bit. Like I said, I don't do things levitating. I don't do things out of the ordinary, out of the box, nothing. But I keep simple, a little bit of technical aspects. I use it. If you see the right top picture, again, there are a lot of leading lines. There's a curved line going straight into the groom. There's another curved line coming from the top going into the bride. Then there's one beam that is going where the groom is keeping his hand on. All these are leading lines, of course. And then there is shadow. Like I said, it might look simple, but every step they took, there was shadow on their face. So you had to place them right. You had to get the leading. You basically had to do a simple mental math. It works. Down, if you see, okay, by the way, coming back to the top right picture, it is on rule of third. So keeping all these three things, shadows, leading lines, and your rule of third, that is my simple talk about this photography. It's a simple, yes, but it's a little bit technical as well. Going down to the bottom picture is the same thing. Again, leading line, shadows, and thing. Rule of third. The left picture, which is more of a portrait picture, it's again a simple picture, simple center focus, center the horizon around the center. The only thing I've done here is use the reflection, like gone a little lower and played with the reflection. So this is more or less my style, which I want to again talk about. Again, these are rule of thirds. No leading lines, simple rule of thirds. Yes, if you see the top right picture, which is of Mark Swarup, which is one of my mentors, there is leading lines of the frame, door frame, and the frames going into them. That kind of gives you an essence of uh, everything going into the subject that I want to portray. The bottom picture is one of the picture which I really work for in terms of getting the rule of thirds right. The stool is on rule of third, the bride is on rule of third. In fact, even the window is on rule of third. Everything is placed exactly on rule of third. So, like I said, they might look simple shots, but I do take my time to figure it out. The top left picture is simple emotions, and again rule of third. So this is more or less my style. Like I said, I don't really do a lot of levitation, other funny things that people put in front of the lenses and all of it. But I use whatever is there. Like top two pictures, if you can see, I've simply used. There was a light coming in from one of the windows, the top windows. I made sure some kind of flare would have been seen. That was the first shot. The left shot was the first shot that I shot. The left top one. The left right one, I did notice that there was a little bit of bench area where there was a polished surface where I could get a little bit of uh, deviation from a normal angle. So that's why I've used that reflection to kind of show a little bit of flare, a little bit of reflection, and the couple there instead of simply shooting them as straight. Now the bottom two pictures, you can see them in double. These are basically mirror shots. When the Ralph, he's a makeup artist, another good friend of ours. When he was doing the makeup, I saw a mirror with an angled edge. That's where I saw there were a couple of reflections happening at the same time, like as opposed to just shooting the same direct shot. I thought, let me just shoot it in an angle using the angle of the mirror. And this is what I got. Here in the right side picture, you can see two of her. These are not post pictures. These are post edited pictures. What I mean, not Photoshop pictures. These are straight up from the camera. Not from the camera, of course. I've edited them. But yeah, this little bit of angle and say, I don't know why they call it creativity, but an eye for looking into things that can probably make it a little more unique. Now, keeping style aside, one more important aspect is post-production. Now, post-production, of course, the main thing is editing. Now, a lot of people think, yeah, I got the picture right and I'm good with it. Like, honestly speaking, I don't think there is any camera right now, at least, I might be wrong, but I'm just saying right now, at least, that shows the picture as it is behind the camera. The picture as soon as you put it on to your laptop to edit is absolutely different. Especially you'll see that if you're shooting in RAW, because RAW is a different format altogether. What the picture that you're seeing on the screen at the back of your camera is basically a JPEG processed image. Giving you an example, if you shoot black and white on your camera, the back of the camera, it will show black and white itself. But when you put the same black and white raw image onto your system, it is colored. So my simple thing being, no screens till date in a camera is so accurate that it is so close to the raw that they produce. So editing plays a very important role in, again, giving you the consistency, because you can use the screen as back of the camera as a reference for your framing, your light, your exposure, and all of it. But by the end of it, editing is something that you can get your consistency in all the images. One of the reasons, or one of the things that people in the wedding industry, or most of them have told me, is they can identify my images because of my edit. Simple as this. Mine is a simple clean edit. I don't really put a lot of varied tones. Simple skin tones. I make sure that's my priority. Skin tones are right. And by the end of it, like I said, keeping a consistent throughout the wedding. I'll probably show you one entire wedding set, from getting ready indoors to having a wedding outdoors to a reception. The exposure and everything has to be the same. That gives a nice feel to the entire consistent wedding album. So that's again coming to the second point, consistency. I think it is a very, very important thing. I've seen multiple photographers making this mistake. At least I feel it's a mistake personally. Every 10 images, the tones are different. I just don't understand how you're going to relate. Or it throws me off after the 10th image once the tone is gone off, because it just gives me a different feel. Suddenly, from a bright image, a bright, vibrant image, it goes to a dark, gloomy image. And I just don't understand why. Because they think that image looks better with that tone, but it's a wedding. You need to give it a feel that how it looked. So how can you keep changing the feel of the images? You cannot. At least it's a personal thing. Third thing is style. Figure it out. Some people prefer black and white, so you can sort out a good black and white tone to to show your stories. I'm not good in black and white tones, so I've never even tried. I can't portray a story through black and white. I can portray a story through my colored images. But yeah, figure a style, black and white, colored, whatever you want to do. Figure it out and see what works. Tones. Now tones, like I said, figure out a tone in terms of whether you want, like I said, there can be a dark tone. There can be someone who likes sepias, some like black and white, some like oversaturated, undersaturated, whatever tones, but try and be consistent with it. Figure out a tone and keep that consistent throughout. Of course, every wedding is not the same, so the tones will never look the same. But at the point when colors matter, at least I know that the reds would look the same reds in every photograph and stuff like that. So always try and be consistent. Predetermined. Now predetermined, I'll tell you why. This short I've placed here on purpose. I'll show you the next slide why I talk about predetermination. Sometimes there are lights, there are things that you can't, it's not the next slide, probably later I'll show you why I talk about predetermination. Because sometimes there are things like you are shooting with a strong backlight, especially like this. Sometimes there are situations you're shooting against a sunset. How do you expose both of them right? It is virtually impossible. Like this, unless you use an external flash or something like that. But if you don't have a flash, you don't have something, you need to predetermine as to what you're going to do in post-production. So whether you want to blow out the image and just expose a couple right, fine, do that, because you're already predetermining that's what you want in post-production. But if you are saying, okay, you know what, I will underexpose this, I'll get the sunset right, and probably in post I will kind of boost the underexposed couple a bit. So that is one kind of predetermination, saying that I know what my goal is with this picture and I'm going to shoot it this way. So always predetermine and see. In fact, most of my team members, like, at least initially they get surprised. I should predetermine my entire shoot. I should do a small recce and I should be like, you know what, I know what I'm going to shoot. And I should always either shoot one stop less or one stop more. It is me doing a mental calculation regarding, okay, it's a morning shoot. It's going to get a little more sunnier. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. It's going to be indoors for the first half. The second half is going to go outside the mandap. So keeping everything calculated, again, it's come with experience. I don't expect this to happen from day one, but that is something that you can build later. But I do predetermine my entire shoot. I kind of have presets for every wedding. I just kind of come back home, I see, oh, okay, no, I'm not talking about predetermination there, but I kind of keep a consistency. I take the previous wedding tones, I kind of tweak it in and around, depending upon the wedding that I've shot presently, and I make a new fresh preset just for the particular. Like I said, if I ever get a chance through Photowalk Bangalore, maybe in the future when everything gets settled, probably I would love to share my workspace with you guys to show how I kind of do my editing. So yeah, importance of post-production. Next, going to the equipment. This is sometimes funny, sometimes irritating, sometimes really ridiculous a question a lot of people ask, but sometimes it does make sense. Now, to every time that it makes sense, or some people who just want to understand in terms of equipment, this is what I put. Firstly, you have gotten into wedding photography. Sometimes, like I said, it doesn't work out. Everything might work out till now. You've got your tones right. You've got your team right, everything is right, but sometimes it just doesn't work. Probably after 10 weddings, you realize, oh man, it's not working out for me. Then what do you do with the equipment if you have purchased it? So giving an example, I never purchased one camera, at least for the first 2 years. I worked with the, not first 2 years, maybe one and a half year. I worked with the 30D, I fixed it. It was a borrowed camera from Anup. And like I said, even the lenses, it was Anup. I never bought a lens because of course I wasn't charging as much then. So uh, equipment wise, first thing is you need to have, I'm not saying technical aspect as to how your light hits the pixel and how it converges and all of it. No, I'm saying simple basic understanding as to how you can relate to a camera or what does it deliver. Like, an ISO, okay, this I can push it to 3500. This camera I cannot push it to simple aspects. Then uh, shoot, or what I would say is like, there are a lot of times that people buy a camera with a rush, and then by the end of it they say, oops, it doesn't fit my hand, like, it's too small for my hand. Like I have ridiculously funnily shaped hand. My fingers are way shorter than my palm. so so I need a big bodied camera. So simple as that. Like, you might make a simple mistake like because you're going to carry the camera for the next 5 hours. So uh, understand the camera, see what it is, talk to people, like, share your experience, take experience from someone else saying how the camera is, how to figure it out. You can do all of this by even borrowing it. You don't need to invest in a camera initially. So all I would say is, coming to the first point, don't buy immediately. Wait, always wait. Always when you wait, you will always be happy with what you have purchased. Never rush, because if you start rushing into, or you know what, I've got into wedding photography, I want to buy a camera, or this camera is released, I want to buy this camera. It is, I feel sometimes you are going to get disappointed with one or the other aspect. Understand whether, if you're going to still buy the same camera a little later, understand whether you are okay with the shortcomings of the camera. If you're not okay, it is fine. Like, you don't need to buy the camera. But if you say okay, you can still go ahead and purchase the camera. So never rush into buying a camera. Always understand the camera. Third thing is, when it comes to a whole idea of equipment, always think about buying with a plan. Body, lens, flash. I've seen, honestly, one of my teammates bought a lens first, and I just didn't understand why. And after repeatedly saying something, he went and bought a lens. Another person I know of who had bought a body and bought a zoom lens, which I didn't understand, and they're shooting weddings. So for me, a simplest camera would be, try and invest in a full frame, buy a versatile lens, say 24-70, 24-105, which are the most versatile lenses. Of course, 24-105 generally is 4 f4, and 24-70 is 2.8. So whatever your preference is, buy that, and then try and invest in a flash. These three things are important before you go into your primes, you go into your second body, or you purchase, like, a ridiculous set of lenses and all of it. Buy the sensible thing, make a plan, see your budget, how much do you charge, how many weddings you have in the future, and all of it. Budgeting is another thing. You simply don't want to buy it because you have the money, because having a wedding, like I said, you might say, oh, you know what, I'm going to invest the entire amount that I'm going to get at this wedding, and I'm going to go and buy the camera, and you're going to use the next wedding's money for, say, I'm just simply saying, next month's rent or your overheads or whatever it is. But what if the next wedding gets cancelled? So always think about your budget. Don't think about buying immediately. And the reason I'm saying is because after you buy an equipment is what you're going to do your entire work with. So you wouldn't want to regret. So I always say, people, after you buy, you should never regret. That's the reason. Take it slow, take it easy, understand, talk, and you'll figure it out. If, like I said, if you're taking it easy, there's always options of renting. There are hundreds of people who are out in Bangalore renting equipments. See different bodies, see what's the best option for you. See how, I never shoot, like, not that I never shoot, I avoid shooting portrait pictures. I always shoot landscape wise. I never shoot portrait wise. It's just a style. Again, like I said, my hand is weirdly shaped, so I need a big thing. So even though this is my camera, which I've showed in the side, I have a battery pack. no matter how heavy it gets, I need a battery pack because my little finger, I need that support there. So it is just me. Like I said, everyone is different, everyone is built differently, but that is what I thought. Like I didn't buy the camera without a battery pack. I told Canon when I wanted the camera, immediately they sent a battery pack along with the camera. I bought both of it together. Same thing happened with my previous camera, Mark III, the Mark II, and everything had a battery pack. So, like I said, that is what I did. I did a research. I figured it out. Okay, this camera has battery packs. I know a couple of Nikon cameras, mirrorless, didn't have a battery pack for a very long time. So, do your research. Buy the best option that works for you. Then, second thing is, okay, this is something that you need to figure out in terms of buying a camera, is whether it works with your shooting style. A lot of people buy cameras just saying, oh, this is a new camera, this is something that is really hot cake in the market. No, figure your shooting style. You're working simply in terms of a wedding. Figure what works for full frame camera, or something that is fast, something that you can. If you're a wedding photographer and a wildlife photographer, you need to consider frame rates. If you're a sports photographer, you need to consider frame rates. So think what you're shooting along with. Some people just don't shoot weddings. So I'm just saying, always notice. And third important thing about buying a camera or renting a camera, that color science. Every camera has a different color science. I like Canon. I started with Canon. I always like Canon because I can edit it also well. In terms of, I have tried working with Nikon pictures. Unfortunately, I cannot. I'm saying it is my shortcoming. It's not Nikon's shortcoming, but all cameras are good in the market. There is no. It's always undecidable argument, like a Samsung phone or iPhone phone, Canon, Sony. Everyone has their own arguments. I love Canon. I have reached wherever with only Canon bodies, with nothing else. Like I'm saying, people have reached from whatever to whatever with Sony bodies. Every successful photographer in the world has used all three cameras. So there are others. There are Pentax, there's Panasonic. There's so many cameras. There's Leica. People have seen wedding photographers using Leica, which is of course really fancy wedding photographers using Leica. But giving an example, everyone has their colors. Every camera has their color science. I love Canon. It has neutral color science. I know Nikon is a little more vibrant, and honestly speaking, personal opinion, but Sony I feel is a little undersaturated, but it is fine. You can still work around it in post. But for me, working with the neutral image works well with me. So I have stuck, or probably I was designed because I started off with Canon itself. So always look into renting cameras before buying, because these things you'll get a fair idea as to where you stand. Then last thing is your opinion. Like no, not your opinion. Get opinion from others. Basically, sorry about that. There are hundreds of YouTube videos. Like listen to them. Listen to your photographer friends, co-photographers, what they are using, how they are feeling, how they're comfortable, what battery runs out faster, what can sustain, what some cameras are heating issues. Some like a lot of things are there which you need to talk and understand from. Then of course there are experts. One of your you can just have a chat with like one of the professionals. Ask them, what are you using? Looking to buy so and so camera. Does it work in situations like this? Figure it out and then think of buying an equipment. I would always say that don't buy an equipment just because you want to buy an equipment. It just doesn't fit. Or I feel more often than less you'll be disappointed. Now coming to weddings, there are a couple of challenges before. This is more or less for people who have short weddings and understand this, and probably it'll relate to people who are professionals. But I think this is something that I need to show to people who are going to start. There are a lot of challenges that come with shooting a wedding. It's not as rosy and making quick money as people say it is. And yes, of course, it is not too hard also, but there are a couple of challenges. One is people. Most challenging part is the people, because people are difficult to put your views across, because by the end of it, couples do understand you. They hide you. They think they can trust you with their memories of their wedding, but there are random people, aunts, uncles, old people who will not care because you're a photographer. So dealing with people, so dealing with crowd, dealing with like I said, couples dealing with families is one of the biggest challenges. So always try and understand. Always be in a backseat, looking and observing at people how they are, and then sometimes we do shoot in a crowded place. But you can't help it. Like most of the South Indian weddings. In fact, initially when I used to do Kalyan Mandap weddings, it's not that I don't do it now. It's I don't know. Strangely, I don't get any more Kalyan Mandap weddings. But when I used to do Kalyan Mandap weddings, I still love them. The best part was trying to ask an auntie or an uncle to move, because everyone thinks they're important. With all due respect to them, they are important. Of course, they're way important than us. But my point being, it is very difficult to put across to them as why they need to move aside or give space or whatever it is. So you need to figure out how to sort this out. And the only way is being polite, being nice, and requesting, and probably before the wedding, try and tell the couple, listen, this is a South Indian wedding I've experienced, or I've heard the experiences of people crowding. So if you can like make sure that the crowd is not as much. Second is events. Now, like this picture, this is shot in Sri Lanka. It was a beautiful, beautiful wedding in Anantara. Unfortunately, it was a day wedding. The couple, I had massive couple of meetings with them. They wanted a proper good daytime wedding. I told them get married in the morning. They sorted everything out. Unfortunately, for almost 3 days before and after the wedding, it rained throughout. So most of the events were taken inside, but one thing that they really wanted to get done was get married by the beach side. So I love this couple is only because of that, because no matter what happened, it rained. And fortunately for us photographers, the cameras that I use, both the Mark IIIs, my lenses that I use, and also the EOS are all are weatherproof. So I was fine to hold an umbrella, and even if there was a little bit of rain coming in, it was absolutely fine with me. And this makes it for picture by itself. I feel it's one of my favorite pictures, because it talks about how the family is being cooperative, how the couple have been so brave enough to have a wedding in the rain. And of course, the pujari never even complained once. He had a beautiful. He didn't even have an umbrella on him. The person on the left is bending to us later, but he was completely soaked. But this is one of my favorite pictures. Like I said, these things happen. Rains come, outdoor gets to indoor. Like you need to figure out or predetermine when you're entering a venue. You know it's going to rain. It's not going to rain. Even if it doesn't rain, it is fine. But if it rains, always think about the other extreme and say, okay, if it rains, this is what I need. I need my flash. I need my thing inside to shoot indoors. Outdoors is, like I said, is relatively easy to shoot compared to indoors. So always prepare and make sure you have adequate equipment enough in your bag to make sure you can tackle any situation. Third thing is lights. This I know is a nightmare to most photographers, even me. Even after shooting 10 years, it is an issue. Again, the way you can sort out all these three people, events, and lights is firstly sorting it out with the couple. People, you can always tell, have minimum people at the. I have things very clearly in my mail or in my meeting. I tell them I want minimum set of people, not more than 5, not more than 10 people pushing it at the mandap. I tell them straight up, I don't want anything more than 10 people. Important family, immediate family, and probably whoever is involved inside. That's all. Second thing is events. You can always talk to your couple. Always tell them, listen, is there an indoor event, outdoor event? Tell me right now. If it rains, is it going to move? Be moved in. So you can always predetermine all these things. Lights. This is something that I know it's a nightmare. Once we reach there, we can't. And if it is not according to what you want, then you can't do. You have to improvise. But I make sure I talk about lights to every couple of mine and every wedding planner. I ask my couple to put me through the wedding planners so that I know what lights they're using for Sangeet, for what Sangeet. I've noticed that people using strobes and multiple colored lights when people are performing on stage, and people have from green to every possible color of vibgyor on their faces and the photographs. That is something that I strictly forbid at my wedding. I tell, by the end of it, your strobes is going to be eye pleasing right now, but the photograph that they're going to see later is not going to be pleasing. So I tell every couple, have a face light or a focus light constant throughout all the after the performances are done. It is fine. After the party starts, it's fine. But at least the main focus, which is the dance or dancing performances and all of it, make sure there's a focus light. You do whatever you want in the background or the foreground, but I want a focus light on them. This is one few of the things I would say could be a good solution to tackle all the challenges that you generally face. Then coming to edits. Now, when I'm talking about edits, these are unforeseen circumstances that none of us have planned. None of us, at least we have tried sorting it out, but it has not worked, and we have to improvise. That's when you think about edits. See what you can achieve. That's why I say knowledge and understanding about an equipment. You need to figure out if your camera can shoot up to 3,500 ISO. I know cameras say 12,500 and like 25,000 ISO, but you know, if you want to shoot something without grains, sometimes it is 3,500, sometimes it is lesser. When my camera says 3,500 without grains, I would shoot at lesser than 3,500. I would basically shoot at 1,600. I generally don't go. I push it to 2,400 only if necessary. I use my other sources instead. But when I'm talking about edits here, is I always pre-plan as to what I need to do. I'll show you in a couple of other slides, next slides, how I tackle the situations and how I predetermine as to what I'm going to do, because I'm in a spot where I can't fix the light or event or people solution. Give you an example. This was shot in New York on Brooklyn Bridge. So now, giving you an example, the left picture you see, it was a sunset. It was a beautiful sunset. Of course, the sunset I had to shoot it at the back. And by the way, I know a lot of people have said that that's a artificial flare. It is absolutely not artificial. You can see it's the raw picture on the left hand side. You generally get this beautiful flares with the 1635, at least from a Canon perspective I'm talking about. You get this beautiful flares in wide angles and 1635s and all of it. So I was fortunate to get that. So I didn't want to lose that. But if I had to expose the couple right, I had lost that. So I thought, okay, let me underexpose the couple. Let me get the clouds in the sky right, and the rest I will manage in post. And that is what I got on the right hand side. And I feel it's a good relatable image, like, you know. So the previous picture I was talking about that time was this image. Now this was absolutely uncontrollable. Certainly there was a lot of smoke. There was certainly great glare of light, but I saw a character in the light at the back. Initially my thing was, okay, you know what, I'm just going to expose them right, forget the background. But then I saw some character in the lights that were coming because it was playing very well with the smoke that was going around. So I said, you know what, let me underexpose them, because I know my post processing capability and the Canon that I use, Canon's post processing ability, and the picture on the right is what I achieved. You can see her bracelet and all is absolutely lost, but in fact even her eyes is absolutely lost in the raw picture. But I know that the camera could retain it later, and this is what I got, which I think is quite a nice image, and at least I'm happy about it. So I'm just showing this. So yeah, that is more or less in terms of challenges, at least the 4 important aspects of challenges. Now coming to an on-field experience. Now again, this is where the world sees you, and this is something which is very important, because till you reach a wedding, it is all about you and the couple, and you sorting it out with the couple. But the actual work starts when you're on field. So basically, there are I know quite a lot of points which I mentioned here, but these are important, and I'm going to quickly run you through them. Your appearance. I absolutely believe in dressing up well. I will not go shopping for anything else, but I would definitely go for shopping at for someone's wedding or for the season or something like that. I make sure at a Hindu wedding I'm in my kurtas, at Catholic wedding I'm in my waistcoat, or say my formals, definitely formals. Nothing, no kurta that at church for sure, but kurta at weddings definitely makes sense. Like, giving you an example, and by the way, this also goes to my whole team. My entire team is with kurtas if it is a Hindu wedding. If it is a Catholic wedding, they're all in formals with shoes. Because simple example, if you are at church, imagine you sitting in the crowd and you're watching a photographer with an AC/DC t-shirt and chappals at the altar, and the funny part is the whole congregation, the whole gathering is looking at you. You might think that okay, you're just doing some work and going back, but the whole you are right at the altar, running around more than anyone else at church. So just imagine people noticing you in and around. It is quite awkward. Especially it's an embarrassment. I would say definitely an embarrassment for the couple and the crowd because they're all dressed in fine. Like, when they see someone running around at a very important time during their wedding with something very inappropriate, I think it is absolutely unfair. Same goes to at a mandap. You are at a mandap, it has four walls, four pillars. Everyone is dressed in their best. Like, if you look at this picture itself, like everyone is like, either in a Sabyasachis and with their invested like in lakhs and lakhs. And imagine you walking around with your t-shirt and chappals and like, okay, at least you can't wear footwear here, but I'm just saying jeans or anything like that. It just doesn't fit in. How do you fit in a mandap which is beautifully set and thought about for years and like months and weeks of planning? So try and be as, I'm not asking to buy expensive stuff. Try and dress smart, dress appropriate, create a comfortable atmosphere. Always, this is something that I end up after every wedding, being friends of the couple and the family. I like to create a comfortable environment is because wedding is a place where there's absolute stress going throughout the entire place. So you need to create a stress-free environment. You need to be the see, giving an example, uh, from the time, okay, at least in my case, I start shooting from the time the bride and the groom start getting ready. So basically, that's the start of their day till the end of the day. So you need to understand that the couple is going to see you throughout the day. So if you are a grumpy fart, or if you're going to get your home issues or your work issues or your fights with whomever you had to the wedding, they're going to see it on your face, and that's not a pleasant experience. Weddings, I believe that every wedding has chaos, and that's the beauty of it. But the chaos does come with their share of stress, probably some happiness and whatever. But if it is stress, you don't want to. At least a couple who don't want to see a grouch or grumpy face. So always I say have a smile on your face and just try and relax the couple. Like always make it comfortable for both the family. Try try and like make it a happy, cheerful environment. Like I absolutely believe, I tell every couple that a photographer and a makeup artist are the two most important people that they need to make sure that they hire, and who are happy that they should hire this, because the two of them are the ones who the bride starts to see first at their most important wedding day. So third is patience. Patience is because a lot of delays. Every wedding has delays. Some weddings are or bang on time, but a lot of weddings have delays, and that is because probably the flower vendor has come late, the pujari has come late, like whatever it is. Of course, I hope you're not late, but what I'm trying to say is have patience. Sometimes there are delays. There are traffic blocks, especially people in Bangalore will not talk about it. There are traffic blocks everywhere. The bride comes a little late. Don't get upset about these things. This is fine. It's a wedding day. Nothing is under your control. In fact, you think everything is under your control till you realize that nothing is under your control. So have patience. Be okay. Be fine. Dedicate the day to them. Just probably find a way to keep yourself calm. So always have patience with your couple. Understanding the situation, like I said, like when I spoke about comfortable atmosphere, like there are a lot of things that go wrong. Like sometimes the horse doesn't arrive. They are absolutely upset because the groom side asked for the bride. Where's the horse? Because they have done all the arrangements. It's full. And the thing is, funnily, you're the person who's in the room with them when the bride getting ready and all these things come up. So always understand the situation. Don't get too intrusive. Don't get too involved in their conversation. But try, once the conversation is done, if they're stressed, try and put a smile on their face, because by the end of it, you also want pictures with them with a smile on your face. Nervousness is an emotion. Stress is not an emotion. Stress is more of something that you wouldn't want in your photograph. Laughing, crying is all emotions that you want in a photograph. That is fine, but stress is something that I try to avoid. So understand the situation, take a backseat whenever you need to. come and be the main part of it when you need to. Quick recce. I have a habit of quickly running around the venue, irrespective if I've from Bangalore. I've shot in Taj Western probably more than 100 weddings, and no matter what, every single time I go see the decor, I go see the venue, I see if there's any changes, the light, the thing, everything. I have a habit of doing that just to, like I said, predetermine my shots, predetermine my presets, understand what needs to be done and what could go wrong, possibly go wrong. Everything is thought about, because when you're shooting, makeup is the only time when you can prepare for the worst. So you have that time. So always do a quick recce, run through your mail and deliverables, because sometimes you and I do forget, no matter how sharp my mind is regarding weddings, I do forget, oh shit, at this wedding, I promised, or the couple had requested for so and so, or it'll be unfortunate if you don't deliver. So I have a habit of keeping everything in my mail. Every meeting is recorded in my mail, in the sense, after every meeting, I go back to the mail and I write so and so and discuss in the mail. If I missed out any points, please think, or if everything is there, please confirm that this is all that was spoken. So everything is there in my mail. I just quickly run through my mails, and then I check with all my deliverables as to what needs to be delivered. Have a quick run and plan with your team. You can always, like I said, after shooting for 10 years, of course, my team has changed multiple times. Not the whole team, but one person at a time has kept changing. So always run the plan with your team, because you're the person who has always communicated with the entire crowd. Or probably, I'm just saying, this is you being the main person as a photographer. If you're working with someone else, also request your main photographer to have a quick discussion as to what needs to be done. You have to discuss. Like I said, always smile and be positive. Because like I said, it is very important to have a cheerful face, especially when they're going to see your face throughout. You want people to approach you and smile at you when you're taking photographs, not like run away from you. So when you're approachable and comfortable to be with, that's when you get the best pictures. So always smile and be positive. This is something, the next point is something that I always tell most of my teammates, and would love to tell all of you: mentally prepare for the next shot. Giving an example, church. Once the wedding is done, you are shooting the bride coming out of the church, and once they're out of the church, within a second, it is going from indoor to outdoor. You need to plan it so well, because right after they come out, I've seen so many times the bride and groom probably give a quick peck or a kiss. You wouldn't want to miss that shot. So you need to absolutely be thorough that, you know what, I'm with my flash inside, I'm using my flash inside the church. I'm going to switch it off as soon as I step out, and I'm going to go to whichever mode or whatever I want to do. So always, this is one of the instances or examples I can give you, but always mentally prepare for the next shot. Always listen. This also, listening always helps you prepare for the next shot. Giving an example, always listen to what the priest says, probably what the family says, or the pujari, or whoever it is. Just listen to what they say, because they will say, oh, next is Kashi Yatra. So you'll know exactly, you'll have to get down to go out to shoot Kashi Yatra. If anyone knows what Kashi Yatra means, I know most of you would, but if you don't know, it's a process that happens, which the groom gets out of the mandap and goes away for a small ceremony. So again, he comes out of the main space. So always listen. The thing is, once you start getting distracted, then you kind of are always lagging behind what is happening. So always listen, always be attentive. Talk to relatives and friends. This is also important to plan the next shot, because you might not know, not that every single time. Like I said, I've shot most cross-culture weddings. I've probably shot in every city in India, but I will still say, or talk, or say, or like ask the couple to find me one person from the relative or friends to always run me through something that's happening, because I don't want to miss anything. So I will always have, if I don't understand, if I see something happening and I don't understand, I definitely will go to one of them and I'll ask them what is happening. So I keep talking to them, basically becoming friends by the end of it. Make sure to shoot your maximum potential. Like I said, if you cannot do it, your teammates should back you up. But always make sure that you can do it to your maximum potential. I'll give you an example. There was a shoot where I had broken my wrist, my right hand. You can still see the bumps here. This was actually 5 years back, but it didn't stop me from shooting. I could have easily avoided that wedding, but I did go and I did shoot the whole wedding. It was bloody painful, but I did it. So my whole point being, it's someone else's important day. You cannot. It happened the night before. the wedding. So I didn't want to give them a scare saying, oh, you know what, I broke my arm and I cannot come and shoot. Then where will they run? So all these things will be remembered later, and it was definitely noted, and it was spoken about later. So um, make sure you try and do as much as you can. I'm not asking you to push yourself to another limit where you collapse, but try and do it to whatever level you can. Never use your phones at weddings. It's just upsetting. I've seen people play or games. Okay, you can attend calls if they're important. Of course, sometimes there's family affairs. There is emergency affairs. There is, of course, a lot of things that come in, like clients also, like, you know, if they want an emergency, something, fair enough. If there's a reason, you know, there is an important reason, fair enough, use it, but don't use it to message if there's a message, it's definitely not important. If there's a call, of course, something, messaging, I don't see how it can be important. But anyway, playing over the phones is absolutely no. Always communicate with your team. You don't have to be loud. Simple eye signs, hand signs. Communicate with the pujari as to if you don't understand what is happening, just ask him, is it done? If you're really tired, or if you want to take a quick break, say a break to the bathroom, or you want to quickly have a coffee because it's an early morning wedding, because you're feeling sleepy, you want to have a quick coffee, just ask. If there is like 2 minutes, like relaxed moment, you can get whatever you want. Like, you know, it's always communicate. And always end in a good note. Always leave the wedding with like a super smile on your face, and make everyone happy. Again, I've been to weddings where I've been just a friend and I've just attended the wedding, and I've seen photographers. Of course, I'm a photographer, so I'll be looking at photographers, what they're doing. So I noticed them, they just pack up and leave. And especially one of my friend's weddings, the couple, the groom, who was my friend, he was like, "Where's the photographer?" And they had already gone. And I'm like, "I saw them leave. Didn't they tell you?" They're like, "No, they must have told the wife." Then wife. And they're like, "No." The wife was like, "No, didn't tell me." Then whom did they tell and leave? Like, it is ridiculous. So always end on a good note. Tell them, give them a hug, congratulate them. It's always nice, because after this you still have to do a lot of communication, because the edits, deliverables, and all of it. So always end on a good note. The important aspects, that's the do's and don'ts. Quickly, client servicing. You always need to give good sense of assurance that you're going to do their or shoot their day right. That is, mails important, or at least I feel everything is recorded in mails when it is coming in. What date, what time, everything is there in the mails recorded. So you give enough of details in your mail saying so and so and so. These are my deliverables. These are so and so things. If they have any concerns, they will reply. They will talk about it. You reply to the mails. Everything is recorded. Is always fair, because tomorrow if there's a confusion, you always have mail as reference. Meetings. Always, at least 90% of my weddings, not 90, 95% of my weddings, I wouldn't have shot without meeting the couple, or at least having innumerable Skype calls or online calls or whatever it is. Meetings is one important place where you can like sort out things, give them assurance of your important days. So always do that. And once the meeting is done, try and put the most important points that we discussed again in the mail, and ask them for confirmation if this is all that we discussed. If not, what are the extra points and what I need to be. And of course, this will give them a little comfortable seat, at least before the wedding starts, and they're absolutely assured that, you know, they have hired a good photographer. Costing this, a lot of people have asked me, how do we go about charging? Now, simple as this. Charging, I charge an X amount is because of an X amount of experience. It's not because I shoot a day. There's a day cost because I've shot for 10 years. Every year I've been increasing my cost because it's an additional year of experience. Like everyone gets an increment with all, like in an IT company or in any tech company, how they get increment every year. I believe that I have grown in experience, I've grown in clientele, I've grown in every aspect. So I deserve a raise, and I give myself a thing. So I cost because of my experience. Every year I've increased. I started from 25 and I've reached an X amount is because of my experience. And not because I've shot an XYZ person's wedding or a high profile wedding, or it's not because of that. It's because of my experience. But two things, cost factor, I divided into two things. Giving you an example, if I was to charge 50,000 rupees, I say keep a minimum of 20% sorry, minimum 40%, say 50% for editing, because editing is the important part. You spend more days on editing than shooting one-day wedding. The one-day wedding will take you at least for me, it will take a minimum of a week's time to edit. So keep, if I'm charging 50,000, at least 20 to 25,000, I would keep it aside for editing. The remaining 25,000 was for on-site or on-field shooting. That also needs to include your second shooter's cost. And so I believe 10 to 20% is a good second shooter's cost. Giving an example, if it is 25,000, 20% makes it 5,000 rupees, which is a good amount for a second shooter. And if it is, say, 10%, 2,500 is, I don't think anyone will shoot for you. But anyway, I would say if you're charging 50,000, 5,000 for a second shooter, then say 20,000 for your shooting charges, and say another 25,000 for your editing is a good way to charge. Then you can do your your math in your own way as to how much you charge. At least I feel that that's a good way to charge. Transparency. Always be transparent about how much you're charging. Everything that you're about to do, what you're going to deliver, what you're going to what you cannot do also, like if there's something that's gone wrong, if there's something, give you an example, your camera just went off, or okay, you promised a drone shot but your drone is not taking off, or you crashed your drone. Be honest and tell them directly, you know what, I crashed my drone, so and so. Clients will understand. It's in fact, when you tell them all of these things, they kind of are happy, then understanding it later, and then them asking, why didn't you tell me? So always be transparent as to what is happening, what you're giving, what you're delivering, and all of deliverables. I would always say pre-plan it. I always say minimum of 300 to 400 images in a wedding is what I would deliver. But of course, I deliver way more than that because there's so many things happening in the Catholic wedding. But sometimes, with all due respect to Kerala weddings, it is a 5-minute wedding. Like you can't give 400, 500 images. Like, so sometimes couples understand, sometimes couples don't. So always make sure you are absolutely clear with the deliverables and deliver them right. Mode of communication. Always tell them straight up. If you are not a person to talk over the phone, tell them I'm not a person who talks over the phone a lot. So I only communicate through mails. I only communicate to online chats or messages. Tell them. Or if you, or for me, I tell most of my couple, if I'm sorry if I have missed your calls, because I do travel abroad a lot for my shoots. So how do I give or update every time a number to every couple that I have? So it's impossible. So I tell them, please leave me a message. Best is mails. I prefer my mode of communication by mails. So keep that. Team management. Always, like I said, have a good team. Choose the right photographers, right team. If you're shooting with someone to start off or as an intern, choose the right team. You don't want to be disappointed. Do a little bit of research on them. See how those people are. Some people are very nice. Some people are very strict. See what works for you. And team management. If you run the team, make sure, like I said, they're dressed well. They do the job that you are. That by the end of it, it's fine. By the end of it, if they're having fun, it is what is supposed to be. Everyone is supposed to have fun, but they need to deliver as to what they need to in a right way. Time management. You and your team have to be on time. That is one thing I'm very, very particular about. If they tell me 5 p.m., I'm always there by 4:30 minimum. Sometimes I reach early also. Like I said, I like to do my recce. I like to sit, go through my mails, the deliverables, promises, whatever it is. I like to be there by 4:30 just in case there is a traffic block, there is a roadblock, anything. Then that half an hour gives me the time not to be stressed and reach still by 5. So these are the do's. Coming to don't commercialize. Please don't commercialize your work. I've seen like people like making it seem like an ad campaign. This is someone's wedding. You cannot make it an ad campaign. There is an ad agency to do that. So don't make someone's wedding your ad campaign. Yeah, you're using it as a portfolio to get more weddings. That is fine. But I've seen people do fake weddings, shoot fake couple, and show it, because that will not take you anywhere. Because real time weddings are very, very, very different from a planned wedding. It is in fact, I don't know, heaven and earth different. different. Like, you cannot compare the two. So something that don't commercialize it, basically. Don't have your friends simply do a fake wedding. I've seen it happen. That's why I'm saying it. Or probably it might be a surprise for you, but I've seen it happen. So I'm just saying, don't cheat and lie to a couple. Or simply saying, oh, I was late because so and so has happened and I couldn't do it. Don't lie. Tell them if you're late, so and so has actually happened. And every couple understands. I believe none of us are fools, so everyone understands if you're lying or you're telling the truth. So if you lie, immediately there's a throwback. I'm just saying, put yourself in the couple shoot. If you get to know that a photographer is lying, God knows what will happen later. So keep it easy. Hunger for quick money. Again, I've seen a lot of these college graduates saying, "I want to do weddings." And then I ask them why. They're like, "No, I want to do it because it's good fun. It is good thing. You get to travel." Buddy, you cannot become a person, a good photographer to travel immediately as soon as you think. Like, people want to make that quick money because, of course, there's a lot of money. There's tons and hundreds of weddings everywhere around India. For every photographer, yes, but don't spoil someone else's main day because you're hungry for your money. Like, it's very sad. Now, shoot for a friend. Now, this comes across a very funny thing. I do shoot for a friend, but what I mean here is, if you're just starting up, don't tell your friend that, what, I will take care of the day, when you cannot. Measure your limits. See if you can take care of a wedding. If you cannot, please don't do it. Because again, it's someone else's wedding. They might be obliged because you're their friend, and they'll be like, what, he's my friend. Let us give him a chance. But by the end of it, when you really mess it up, then it's sad, because again, it has happened to me. A client had hired me, not hired me, almost hired me, but then they said they had a friend, and then he really ruined the wedding. And post that, the client came literally crying to me saying, "Claude, can you edit these images? They are horrific." So I was really upset, and I said, "No, I will not do it because it's somebody else's image." But then she begged, pleaded. Then the other photographer spoke to me. Then I edited, and I told them, "Please don't mention my name anywhere, but I will edit it." And I could do a little bit, and I did that. Please don't drink. Don't miss or be late. That is as it is. Don't miss a wedding, which is very sad. And don't ever be late. Always, like I said, always keep a buffer time before reaching a venue. Don't drink at a wedding. You can drink probably post everything is done, if the couple invites you to drink. I don't think so. It is fair for you to just go and pick a glass and have fun at a wedding. Of course, most couples will tell you, go have a drink, be easy, be relaxed. Yes, do it, but at your space and time after your work is done. Don't do it during the wedding, because it's just, I don't think so it is professional, or I don't think so it is ethical at all. And please don't lose your calm. Simple things. I've seen people losing calm. Simple as this wedding has been delayed by an hour. It is fine. It's an hour. It is not your wedding. You're there to shoot the wedding. Like, or it has delayed. It has been pushed. It is fine. Don't lose your calm. If you cannot shoot, go to the couple and tell them, "Oh, I can't shoot post 12 or 1 a.m. Like, I'm done. Like, I'm really tired. I'm exhausted because I shot the whole day." But don't lose your calm. Tell them nicely. If they say okay, it's fine, and most of them will understand, and they will be okay with it. So yeah, that is more or less. And the most important thing I would talk about in terms of a wedding is, have always patience. Don't think you can get into wedding photography and get weddings in and around the country within a year, or you'll have weddings throughout the year within a year of you getting into wedding. No, it takes time. Like, I've started shooting international weddings, yes, because of my friends initially. Russell knows about it. I shot one of his nephew's wedding in Dubai. That was one of my first Dubai weddings. This was, I think, 6-7 years back, but it took me at least three years to get there. I did shoot a couple of weddings by reference, but it did take time. Like I said, I did small weddings. I did weddings that probably weren't even a wedding. It was just a court marriage. It takes time. It takes a good amount of hard work, being patient, and all of it. And last of all, just be nice. Like, there's nothing goes, or you don't pay extra to be nice. So just be nice, and everything will go. And this is something that I always like to say. A good photographer is not enough. A good camera is not enough. A blend of a good photographer with a good camera always makes a picture perfect. So yeah. thank you, everyone. Russell, this is probably I overspoke, maybe, but I hope it was informative. I promised 1 hour. I promised 1 hour, but I don't know how much I spoke.
No. It was a very interesting topic, so I don't think the time did matter. Okay, it was really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad.
So it was really nice of you. I think you have to drink a glass of water now.
No. I can talk. I can talk a lot, so it's fine. Yeah. Thank you so much. But anyways, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So I think the presentation has been done. Now what we will do is we will start with the question and answer. So